awareness in ancient India being organized by us in connection with the 70th anniversary of our research institute. We start today's program with Vedic prayer. All of you can kindly be seated. The Vedic prayer will be rendered by the students of Madras Sanskrit College.
Hari Om Tamidhagnindo vasyata kretairboධayata titimma asmin havya juhotana susamidhaya shocike kretan divranjuhotana Agnaye jata vedase tantuva samidbhirangiro grete navvardhayamasi brehachocha javishtiya Upattuvagne havikhmatir greta chirchantu harjata jukhasvasamidho mama bhurbhuvaha svardhyau reva bhumna prithivi vavvarimna Tasyaste prithivi devaya jani prishthegni manna dhyaya dadhe Hari Om
Our sincere thanks to the students of this Madras Sanskrit College. Now may I request our Senior Vice President Sri Kalidas to welcome the gathering and also the chief guest of today's program.
Namaste, Saraswati. Sadashiva Samarambham, Shankaracharya Madhyamam, Asmat Acharya Paryantam, Vande Guru Paramparam. Ishana Sarva Vidhyanam, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam, Brahmajpati Brahmanotpati, Brahma Shivome Astu Sadashivam. Honorable Justice Jyotirlingam, Dr. Gauri Maulikar, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow committee members and team members of Kuppuswamy Sastry Research Institute. It's really a very satisfying and heartening meeting this morning. As part of the 70th year celebration, this seminar has been got up and it has been appropriately announced that a person who is intimately connected with environmental affairs of the state as well as at the center is the chief guest of this evening, and a person who is very knowledgeable in Sanskrit, Indological studies, manuscriptology and all that, and herself is much interested in the roots of various modern technologies and sciences to the ancient scriptures and the Sanskrit literature, classical literature. Dr. Gauri Maulikar is going to deliver the keynote address. Everything is beautifully arranged thanks to Balasubramaniam Vasudeva and Dr. Kameshwari. The 2 days of deliberation, I'm sure, would kindle the minds of the people who are interested in the field. Everybody knows that starting from a common man on the road, even the school children, they talk about ecology and environment. How much they know about it and how much they are committed to it is a different question. It can be debated and then argued about and all. But there is a very strong awareness of it. Now, how that awareness to be properly channeled, to be more productive and constructive is what is very important at this point of time. Because there are lot of cross currents, opportunists who take advantage of the situation and the partial knowledge that the common man possesses and then try to take away people's mind here and there. Now that should be stopped, to put it mildly, and then properly channeled. And I think a 2-day deliberation here with people who are knowledgeable, who have done much work in the field, and we are actually proud to inform this gathering. We have one committee member who had been a keen practicing person for almost a decade of green technology and clean technology. I talk about my colleague, and he has done excellent work. All the activities of, be it him or the Kuppuswamy Sastry Research Institute, they are all done in a very low key, not with great amount of publicity. In fact, Dr. Gauriji was mentioning why there is not, or she was also mentioning why there is not much publicity and all that. Well, this has been the story and the tradition of Kuppuswamy Sastry Research Institute. People who are knowledgeable, who are devoted to the field of Sanskrit, committed to the field of Sanskrit, do know quite a bit about Kuppuswamy Sastry Research Institute and also the works that have been going on, right from the days of the institute being founded. We'll talk about it a little later. And I just want to briefly introduce to you Honorable Justice P. Jyothimani, and he is a person with lot of devotion to our traditional way of life. He had been the judge of Madras High Court and a judicial member of the National Green Tribunal Southern Zone branch. Himself is a science graduate. Then, of course, being an advocate, he had to qualify himself in the law also, which he did, and served as an assistant to distinguished advocates of Madras, including Mr. K. Parasuram. He has served as counsel for the Administrator General and Official Trustee, High Court, and Pachapas Trust Board, an association of University Teachers, Tamil Nadu. He had been legal advisor of University of Madras for the period 1992 to 1998. He has been in the panel of lawyers for Food Corporation of India from 1996, and he continues to be so. Elevated as a judge of the Madras High Court in 2005. Joined as a judicial member, National Green Tribunal in 2012. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to extend a warm welcome and greetings to Dr. Jyothimani. On behalf of everybody present here, a great pleasure and honor to decorate. A set of our publication is also, we have the pleasure of presenting today. Next, we are extremely fortunate to have Dr. Gauri Maulikar to deliver the keynote address this evening. Incidentally, she is making the visit for the first time to the Institute. And in the brief 10-15 minutes that we spent together, I could see how much of interest and enthusiasm he has for this field. And I hope starting from today, her association and frequency of visit and interaction and contribution to the further progress and success of Kuppuswamy Sastry Institute will be there. I have great pleasure in introducing and welcoming Dr. Gauri ji to you. She is former head of the Department of Sanskrit, former in charge of head of the Gurudev Tagore Chair of Comparative Literature, Mumbai University. Of course, she is a MA, PhD in Sanskrit, Vedic elements in Puranic mantras and rituals. Thesis published by NAC Publishers. She holds a PG, postgraduate diploma in comparative mythology. Facets of Femininity, of course, that it should be expected from her, edited the proceedings of the national seminar published by Mumbai University in the year 2005. East and West joint editor, proceedings of the International Conference of Mystics and Mysticism, Somaya Publications, is yet another prestigious publication of hers. More than 80 research articles in English, Marathi, which is her mother tongue, Sanskrit and Hindi published in various journals. A really creditable record, I would say, and it is still going on. Participated in various state, national, and international seminars. Total, it comes to almost 70. Presented papers, chaired sessions, bagged prizes for outstanding research contributions, initiated courses in manuscriptology in Sanskrit department of Mumbai University, a field in which my father was deeply committed and worked for many years, and she had a lot to do in that field also at the present times. Coordinated a UGC funded project on digital preservation of palm leaf manuscript 2010 to 2015, a field in which Dr. Kameshwari has also put Kuppuswamy Sastry Institute also in that track. The institute is also doing the same thing. Vice President of Itihas Sankalan Samiti, Konkan Pranta for last 4 years. Instrumental in the construction of Ramakrishna Bajaj Sanskrit Bhavan in Kalina campus of Mumbai University. Next comes a big list of awards. Awarded the International Ramakrishna Award given by the Canadian Education Foundation for the propagation of Sanskrit in the year 2003. Guru Gaurav Puraskar given by Kala Sadhan, Mumbai in 2011. Kavikalu Guru Kalidasa Sanskrit Sadhana Puraskar for the year 2013 by Maharashtra State Government. Sanskrit Pandit Puraskar for the year 2013-15, Brahmana Seva Sangha Mumbai. Adi Shankara Puraskar for the year 2014 by Shankara Matha Matunka, awarded by His Holiness Yayendra Saraswati Swami, Shankaracharya of Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham. Savitri Bai Pulke Puraskar given by Mumbai University in 2015. Indra Behere Puraskar given by Tilak Maharashtra Vidyapith Pune 2015. Ladies and gentlemen, you should excuse me if I have missed out because it's really a big list of her achievements and decorations that she has received. But it is suffice to say that gives an indication of what an amount of kirti she is enjoying. I request Dr. Kameshwari to honor her and welcome her amidst our midst. People assembled here do know about the Kuppuswamy Sastry Research Institute, but on this occasion, 70th year, I thought I would bring it to your notice a few things. that are of importance, both to the Institute as well as to lovers of Sanskrit and the Institute work. I'm happy to inform you that Kuppaswamy Sastry Research Institute, internationally well known in the field of Sanskrit and Indological research, is celebrating its 70th anniversary during 2015 and 16. This year-long program was inaugurated on 29th October 2015 by His Excellency Sri ESL Narasimhan, the Honorable Governor of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. This was followed by a two-day national seminar on 30th and 31st October on Tattvatraya, Jiva Jagat and Ishvara, on the Astika schools of Indian philosophy. This was followed by a 4-day workshop on ancient Indian mathematics and astronomy. Is in the first week of January 2016. Apart from many scholars, students and mathematics, students of mathematics and Sanskrit from different colleges in Chennai and other places were benefited by this workshop. We also released the complete translation of Mahabhashya of Patanjali in 14 volumes during the last week of January. Dr. Uma C. Vaidya, Vice Chancellor of Kavikulaguru Kalidasa Sanskrit University, Ramtek. In connection with our celebrations, we propose to hold a 2-day national seminar on environmental and ecological awareness in ancient India on 8th and 9th July 2016 at our premises, that is today and tomorrow. This seminar would focus on preserving the ecological balance by suggesting effective measures to prevent the Panchabhutas, Prithvi, Ap, Vayu, Tejo, Akasham, being polluted. Vedic and classical Sanskrit and allied literature, as also texts on medicine, agamas, Vastu Shastra, etc., contain very valuable and useful information on these subjects. These will be analyzed by scholars who are experts in this field. I hope you will be able to participate fully in the 2-day deliberations and benefit from it. Thank you very much, and I request the Honorable the Jyoti Mani to inaugurate the program and then give us the direction. Thank you very much. Thank you one and all.
Respected Vice President, respected Director, coordinators and other office bearers and dignitaries who are working in the Kuppaswamy Sastry Research Institute, organizers of this national seminar on environment and ecological awareness in ancient India, respected participants, and the learned dignitaries who are going to chair the various sessions along with experts. At the outset, I am happy to participate and inaugurate the national seminar on the topic which is relevant today, even today, and concerns the entire world. While congratulating the organizers, I sincerely thank them for having given me this opportunity to participate and share some of my thoughts. Environmental crisis is a human problem for the whole world, be it developed or developing countries, and the most debatable topic of the century to find solution to these crises. Everybody present here will agree that there exists an urgent need for environmental awareness to re-establish the broken link between modern man and nature, and that is how the topic chosen for this national seminar becomes significant. When the environmental degradation in the form of deforestation, insanitation, etc., combined with water, air, and noise pollution, is posing a serious threat not only to the quality of life but also to the basic survival of the human beings. Today, we are trying for clean and better environment to live in, but unfortunately, we are not looking back to the centuries-old Vedic literatures that had established a way of living that was in tune with nature and its surroundings. We neglected the instructions in the scriptures that prescribe acts for avoiding environmental pollution, either out of total ignorance of the scriptures or out of incapacity to follow the real intentions of the authors. It is remarkable that the people in Vedic times have regarded conservation of environment in a holistic manner and dealt with each of its components separately to preserve them. Much importance were given to the 5 elements that ancient man believed to be constituting the universe, namely earth, water, fire, air, and space. In fact, our ancient system of life perceives presence of God in the form of nature. God is Brahman, which is the ultimate. The air is his breath. Trees are the hairs of his body. Ocean is waste. Hills and mountains are his bones. Rivers are the veins of the cosmic being, and his movements are the passing of ages. That is how Holy Script Bhagavatam has stipulated about Brahman. It is high time to realize that most of the present natural disasters, including global warming, to a large extent are attributed to human negligence in protection of free environment. It includes uncontrolled technical growth without anticipating damage which may occur and finding out solution. If environment means surrounding circumstances, ecology means individual requirements or requirements of association of species and their limits of tolerance in relation to environmental factors. Therefore, the protection is for the benefit of both the natural environment and humans. Planting of trees were considered to be of paramount importance, and cutting of trees were considered a sin. Thousands and hundreds of years, if you want to enjoy the fruits and happiness of life, then take up systematic planting of trees. How beautifully the need of afforestation is made out in the verse in Rig Veda. Special importance was attached to the animal sanctuaries called Abhayarana, which implies forests free from fear. Just this one verse in Rig Veda encompasses the whole environmental preservation in simplest terms. Mata Bhumi Putraham Prithivya, which means do not harm environment, do not harm the water and the flora. Earth is my mother and I am her son. May the water remain fresh. Do not harm waters. Tranquility be to the atmosphere, to the waters, to the crops and vegetations. It was not only Vedas but also Upanishads and Itihasa and other ancient scriptures also had taken note of the need for environmental protection to lead a peaceful life. Kautilya in his Arthashastra prescribed punishment on violators of environment, which is as follows. The punishment of 1/8 apna should be awarded to those who dirt on the road. For muddy water, 1/4 pana. If both are thrown, the punishment should be double. If latrine is thrown or cast near temple, well or pond or sacred place or governmental building, then the punishment should increase gradually, 1 penna in each case. The ancient Tamil saint Thiruvalluvar has also spoken about the importance of environment in few of his couplets. Justice S. Maharajan, in his book titled the inner meaning of human history, quotes the concept of environment as explained by Thiruvalluvar as follows. In the age-long controversy between environment and heredity, he threw his weight in support of environment. He believed a man owes the growth of his personality to the environment in which he lives rather than to the genes he has inherited. Of course, this Thirukural, which is Nilathiyalbal Neer Thirundathagum, Mandarku Inathiyalbadagum Ariyu. Maybe it is regarding, it may not be strictly regarding the environment which we speak about in this century, but Thiruvalluvar spoke about the circumstances in which a person is placed to develop his character. And of course, the circumstances nowadays include the environment also. A person who is placed in a better environment comes up in a better feelings. Even as water takes on the nature, the meaning is, even as water takes on the nature of the soil through which it flows, men take on the wisdom of environment in which they live. Friends, before I conclude, I would like to tell something about you so that this August gathering may discuss and tell us as to all, because as a judge sitting in the National Green Tribunal, every day I am meeting so much problem. In the past 3 years in Delhi, it was a disastrous in Agra, in Delhi, and other places, if you find Haryana and other places. The most important aspect, the problem which we are facing now, is about the disposal of waste. Waste generation is not going to come down. It is going to increase when population increases. What is that we have done for the purpose of treatment of waste? Our law says it is a waste management scheme. It is not waste dumping scheme. Our corporations and municipalities think that if you take it from one municipality and take it and dump it in another place, their problem, their obligation comes to an end. No, it has to be treated. There is no. We are having 2 places in Chennai. The one Perungudi and another place in North Madras. And I am seeing for the past 25 years that these corporations and municipalities are only thinking about dumping of the waste, and there is no work which is being done for the purpose of treatment of this waste system. And now, after the NGT has passed a stricture against the corporation, they have not now started in Perungudi, and a project is being now imposed with 100 crores. Now, the treatment includes the segregation, and as segregation, our learned friend said, the segregation must come from the source segregation. There is no purpose in saying that corporation and other government is responsible for evading this problem, facing this problem. But we have to face every day, and we as citizens and people must know as to how to segregate our waste. Whether it is an organic waste or inorganic waste, it is degradable or non-biodegradable, all these things we must know and differentiate that. And in cases where it is organic waste, it is always useful for the purpose of landfilling and other purposes. And in cases of inorganic waste, they can go for treatment. And by treatment, scientists say that 60% of this can be used as organic. It can be treated as organic after treatment. And the remaining 40% can be used for road laying purposes. In fact, based on our orders, Haryana government has put a road to the extent of 10 kilometers. And that road exists even now, in spite of heavy rain and flash flood. And that shows as to how the environment is being looked into by people and how we put it in action. In modern world, due to advancement of technology and man's craving for luxurious life has deteriorated the environment to the fullest extent, far beyond carrying capacity, so that it can no longer repair by itself. It is high time that we go back to the ancient lifestyle, giving paramount importance to environment we live in. We have a great obligation to deliver clean air, water and land to the future generations of our country by mending our ways. Let this national seminar deliver its best to have a step in the right direction by discussing the environmental awareness in the ancient India in the next 2 days. I wish the organizers and all participants the very best, eagerly waiting for a solution for the tremendous problem the entire world faces as on date. Thank you.
thankful to Honorable Justice Dr. P. Jyotimani for his wonderful lecture and for all his words of wisdom. When we wrote him mail and also when we met him in person, he was so humble. He was already well equipped with the subject. Just for the sake of our ancient culture and this subject, he came all the way. And he has to go and attend to his court work by 11 o'clock. So he said, please allow me to leave before 10:15. So we are extremely thankful to you, sir, for taking your time amidst your tight schedule. So, with the permission of all of you, Dr. Jyotimani will be leaving, and we request him to come back. So please come back again leisurely, sir.
Thank you. Sorry.
So you can have this, you can see this, because we are recording. Now may I request Dr. Gauri Maulikar from Mumbai to give her keynote address. Dr. Gauri, please.
नमो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृति पुराणानाम् आलयं वरुण करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं यैः तेभ्यो गुरुभ्यो नमः। अयि मञ्चस्थाः मान्यवराः, अधिशालम् उपस्थिताः विद्वद्वरेण्याः, भारतीयसंस्कृतेः उपासकाः, संस्कृतानुरागिणश्च सर्वेभ्यो हार्दं नमः। Friends, standing in the 70-year-old research institute, in the gathering of scholars who have assembled here from different parts of India, is an honor itself for me. Please accept my heartfelt greetings on the occasion of Bhimaratha Mahotsava for completing 70 glorious years and my sincere wishes for the brighter future of the institute. Honorable members, invited scholars and friends, it's my proud privilege to present my keynote address in this august gathering. Environmental and ecological awareness in ancient India. Many scholars accuse that Sanskrit doesn't have text in environmental science in the sense the term is used today. True, there may not be one single text dealing with this. But ancient India abounded in literature, having environmental and ecological awareness through varied types of texts. This will be clear if we see the meaning of the words in the theme of the seminar. Environment is the natural world or ecosystem. It deals with the surrounding, the mountains, the rivers, the creepers, the birds and the beasts. Ecology is a branch that deals with the relationship of organisms with their environment. This word coined in the latter half of the 19th century, the word ecology, from the Greek word oikos, O-I-K-O-S,